Okay, so my name's Angela Rogers, and I wear two hats. I'm coordinator of Engage Cymru, and I have been for 18 years. Engage is the National Association for Gallery Education, and we're essentially about breaking down barriers to galleries and the visual arts. We do this through projects and training, sharing best practice and advocacy. And my counterpart in Scotland is Sarah Yearsley. She's the Engage Scotland coordinator, who some of you may know. So through Engage, I've delivered quite a few arts, health and wellbeing focus projects in partnership with local authorities, universities, health settings. And last year I worked with Dr. Jill Windell of Bangor University and Clive Parkinson of Manchester Met on dementia-friendly galleries training, where Jill and Clive shared their dementia and imagination research work. So that was a great way of bringing together practitioners and researchers. In 2018, the Engage Conference, a social prescription focused specifically on arts and health, and that was delivered in partnership with the Whitworth Art Gallery in Manchester. So my other hat is coordinator of WAHWN, which is short for the Wales Arts, Health and Wellbeing Network. And at the invitation of Chris Fremantle, who I had the pleasure of meeting at the Bangor University event back in January, I've been asked to talk about WAHWN and how things are developing on the arts and health front in Wales. So in terms of recent developments in Wales, it does feel like a really exciting time. There's a number of reasons for this and a number of positive developments and driving forces, not least the establishment of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, which came into force in 2015. And that places a duty on all public bodies in Wales, of which there are 44, to improve the social, economic and cultural well-being of Wales. All public bodies have to pursue 7 well-being goals, one of which is to develop a vibrant culture, and another is to develop a healthier Wales. So it's all about proactively encouraging collaboration and partnership between different sectors, and that opens up lots of possibilities for the arts sector to work with new partners and build partnerships and collaboration. Another significant development in Wales is that the Arts Council of Wales have moved from a much more responsive approach to arts and health to a more strategic one. And back in 2018, they published a mapping report on arts and health, which really highlighted activity taking place across Wales and made a number of key recommendations. One of those was to strategically support WAHWN and to support it to develop its services and resources and underpin activity for the sector. Another was to establish a strong evidence base for Wales. It was clear there's a huge amount of exemplary work taking place, but what we've not been good at doing as a sector is really evidencing our work in robust and credible ways, other than our research colleagues. So in response to this, WAHWN over the last year has been delivering creative and credible arts and health evaluation training led by Jane Willis of Willis Newson. So 100 arts and health practitioners now across Wales have had that training and feel much more confident to attempt more robust evaluation and case studies. And significantly, the Arts Council of Wales and the Welsh NHS Confederation have recently signed a 3-year memorandum of understanding which will help to further the shared goal of improving awareness about the benefits the arts can bring to health and wellbeing. The Welsh NHS Confederation are a membership body, and they represent all the health boards and trusts, and every quarter they deliver a briefing paper which goes out to all the health boards and trusts and to assembly members. And our network is now submitting case studies and evaluation, which are shared in those briefing papers. So it's been a fantastic advocacy opportunity for us as a sector. We also now have a cross-party group on arts and health, which is chaired by Jane Bryant, AM, and it's all about working towards achieving a political influence to affect policy, best practice and support for this area of work. And WAHWN has a seat at that table along with the Arts Council of Wales. In terms of how we got to the position that we have now, it was about 5 years ago Engage Cymru was successful in applying for Sharing Together funding, a pot of money via the Arts Council of Wales, about £2,500 a year, which enabled us to have meetings, develop the network, invite guest speakers, pay for travel and simultaneous translation. But since the recommendations were made in the Arts Council's mapping report, we've now received more significant strategic funding, which is allowing us to do much more and develop the network. We have a fantastic steering group of 14 arts and health practitioners, pan Wales, made up of artists, health board arts coordinators, researchers and artists who will meet quarterly to discuss priorities and plans for the network. Alongside that, we also hold 4 less formal network meetings per year across Wales where particularly creative practitioners and arts organisations come together to share best practice. The network back in 2016 had around 60 members, but as of now we have 300 members, which is fantastic, and it continues to grow. With strategic funding over the last year, we've been delivering our arts and health evaluation training, but we've also been able to commission a website which is acting now as a kind of key repository for knowledge, resources, member profiles, sector updates. So that's been a major boost for the network. Another key development for us as a network is the invitation from the Public Health Wales to contribute to 5 of their upcoming roadshows across Wales during May and June, and this is a fantastic advocacy opportunity for us. So in terms of the challenges for the sector, I think one of the key challenges is persuading more assembly members to attend the cross-party group. So we understand that assembly members they're really busy people and have limited capacity. So we still have a bit of a way to go and encouraging more of those to sit at the table. But I guess another challenge is about looking at the sustainability of the network, where we're going to be in a few years' time. So one of the things we'll be doing this year is some scoping work, looking at different models of how different arts and health networks have evolved. So we'll be looking at examples like Arts and Health Southwest, who started off in a very similar way to us, I believe, but they're now a revenue client of the Arts Council of England and delivering really high-profile conferences and events which attract leaders in the field. Another challenge, but also an opportunity, is around social prescribing. There's lots of work to do around this in Wales, and we'll be looking at successful models from across the UK, Fresh Arts and Southmead, examples from Bristol and the Southwest, but also other examples in the north of England. So I was asked to think about my top 3 recommendations or priorities in terms of developing a network. And I certainly think number 1 is about together stronger. So, like from the outset, I think it's really essential that you have a national voice. This is always really challenging in Wales because of the culture and the geography. But I think by focusing on a national voice and national approach has really helped to cement our network and enable us to secure funding. I think secondly, it's about developing an action plan, as we did in Wales, and really creating opportunities to speak to Scottish Government and Creative Scotland with a view to developing cross-party group on arts and health as exist in Wales and England. And finally, I think it's about ensuring that network members' work is relevant and strategic. So it's exploring what the priorities in Scotland around health are. In Wales, our priorities are really around prevention, particularly young people and mental health, but also social isolation and loneliness, and living well with dementia. But it's really about tapping into those agendas and developing a strong evidence base to highlight how your work is tackling some of these issues. I know Sarah Yearsley from Engage Scotland was highlighting me on some of the health priorities in Scotland, which I know include life expectancy, particularly in and around Glasgow, but also drug-related deaths in Tayside and Deeside, which are getting lots of attention at the moment. So thank you very much for inviting me to contribute to your event. I hope the rest of your day goes really well. If anyone would like any more information about the WAHWN network or want to get in contact with me, you can email me at info@wahwn.cymru or go to the WAHWN website, www.wahwn, that's WAHWN.cymru, CYMRU. Thank you.